welcome to Sidey Boys Up, episode 5. Today, Bobby is not here. He is somewhere in Florida. I don't know.
Just chilling. He's just living his best life.
But I guess we're close to, or on the yesterday, I guess 2 weeks out from your UFC debut. I thought it'd be pretty cool to maybe go through the come up. Like, I know we've chatted about it a bunch, but I remember seeing the picture of you and Bobby going to the UFC in that arena, and now you're gonna be in it for your debut, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, man, that was like pre-COVID. Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway, my first UFC event, and it was a wild experience, man. And we had great seats. We got like a box, so we got to see that, like, the entire arena, like from the top down. And seeing all the fans, seeing all the, like, I couldn't see one MTC in the whole arena, which was actually insane. I remember, like, literally trying to look, when Max was walking out, I was trying to look into the stand and be like, where is one MTC? And I couldn't see one MTC. And I was like, this is wild. And I just remember, like, how much, like, motivation and like inspiration I got from that night, because I'm like, this would be the craziest arena to fight in, like, in my hometown. And first fight, and it's happening now, which is crazy, bro.
Wild, bro.
Full circle for sure.
Yeah, that it's like the same walls and stuff too. Did you feel like at the time, like, being like, I know I'm gonna be in there one day, you know what I mean?
Bro, 100%. But, like, I don't even know how to explain it, because there's like a deep confidence that I knew that I was gonna be in there, but, like, I'm like, I have no idea how this path is gonna be, when it's gonna happen, how it's gonna happen, but I just trusted that it was gonna happen. And like ever since I started this journey, dude, like, I don't, like, even though, like, odds might have been stacked against me, like, for some reason I knew it was going to happen. Maybe it was just, like, blind confidence, you know what I mean? Which I mean, again, it works out, right? But I always definitely had this weird feeling, and, like, I think that's why, like, I really just stuck with it, because for some reason I'm just, like, in my gut, I knew that it was going to happen. Yeah.
Well, I think, like, to achieve anything, to be honest, you have to be a little bit delusional.
Yeah.
Like, just because people around you are going to tell you, like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's partly even because, like, they love you and they care about you, right? Because they, like, that's a really hard path. What are the odds of you making it?
That's 100% it, man. Like, I remember, like, how many, when I brought it up to my family at first, like, that I wanted to be a professional fighter, that I wanted to be in the UFC, like, literally, like, the last, man. Like, it was just like, and, like,
how old were you here?
I must have been, like, when I wanted to, like, actually, like, I think when I really was like, okay, I really want to do this for, like, a living, I must have been, like, 18 or 19 at the time, when I was like, okay, this is actually, like, what I want to do. And it was just like, okay, yeah, but, like, what university are you going to? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it was one of those things where, like, I get it now, because, like you said, man, like, if I had a kid and he was saying the same thing, I'd be like, God damn, bro, like, this is a hard path. This is a hard journey. But, you know, like, I just knew that I definitely had a commitment to be able to do it.
Yeah. And I remember, like, when I was probably, like, 22, 23 and fighting, I remember, like, being at Parabellum and, like, hearing about you. You know what I mean? There's this young kid who's, like, 16, and a lot of those guys, like, took you under their wing. And they kind of, like, set the foundation for people to be successful now, right? There was, like, the Score fighting series at the time, and you have, like, Lyndon and Gavin and those guys that really brought you up, I guess. Like, what was it like back then?
Yeah, dude, I got really, like, when I, like, look back at my entire, like, journey with this MMA thing, like, I just got, like, really, really lucky, like, signing up in the right gyms, and, you know, having the right coaches right away. Like, literally, bro, like, I meet guys like Lyndon, and then Josh Hill, and then Gavin Heston, like, right off the bat, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm surrounded by, like, the top talent in Ontario and in Canada, even, like, from the get-go, like, and not only just like top talent, but, like, guys that, like, really care about me, you know, like Gavin, Lyndon, like Josh, they all cared about me from the beginning, man. Like, I remember when I was, like, in the sparring room, in the pro rooms at 16, man, they, like, you know, like, they didn't kill me, man. Like, they really, like, built me up, and, like, I could have, you know, like, walked into that room, got absolutely smashed, and I got smashed, but I got smashed without getting brain damage, which is, like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like they really took care of me, man, and, like, built me up, and I feel like a lot of people don't get that, man. And like, yeah, just like the amount of energy and time and like focus they put into me from the beginning was absolutely crazy, man. And I'm just so lucky because I could have went to a bunch of different gyms and like met the wrong people, wrong coaches, been in the wrong environment, but like it all pulled out like perfectly, man. Like again, that's why I feel so like one of those things that it's like, I know it's cliche to say, but it's like really meant to be, man. And like I fully believe that it was meant to be.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. Even like Lyndon talking about, like he had a couple other guys in the Contender Series, but then he was always thinking, like obviously he wants them to win, but he's like, it'd be super cool if you were the first one, right? Because you were like under his wing from the beginning, which has to be an unbelievable feeling for him. You know what I mean? Like a guy that you really built from the ground up. Whereas like other guys, like, you know, they've started elsewhere or whatever, and then you get on their journey like super late as a coach, right? Like that's got to be an unreal feeling for me.
And it's a cool feeling for me too, because it's like the amount of like trust and loyalty you have with someone when you like you've been with them for so long, man. Like, you know, like I know this guy's got my back no matter what. Like, and it builds such a trust when you're inside that cage and like, you know, you're moving around and like he's calling things out that he sees, and like there's no like internal dialogue of like should I do what he just said? It's like you just do it because you have such a like built-in trust, right? It's sometimes it does feel like, you know, like you're in there and you got like, of course I have my reactions and I'm seeing things myself, but then I also have like, sometimes I feel like I'm literally like a video game character and like my coach is like controlling me with like combos, right? Like he'll call something out and like I'll just throw it, and I've gotten knockouts where you're just like, yo, throw this, and then I threw it and boom, it's a KO, and I was like, holy crap, you know, those are such sick moments, and it's such a cool blend of both of those. Yeah,
there's some cool videos on YouTube where it shows like coaches, like I think Dwayne Ludwig has one where he's like throw like 3-2 cross head, like whatever head kick, and then TJ does it like that exact combo and gets a knockout. Yeah, that's sick. But I think people underestimate how much it's actually like a team sport, right? And there's something very much to be said about what you were saying, where you're kind of a video game character where they call it out, you do it, and of course you have like space in between there to like do what you see and react and stuff, but like doing what your coaches see is like massively important, I think, for sure. And like trusting them, right? I've been in fights where you don't trust your corner and it's a bad feeling.
Oh, I couldn't imagine, man. Yeah. I've never have been in a fight like that, right? Yeah. And it's like you just got it almost feels like you got, instead of like 2 eyes, you got like 6 eyes, you know what I mean? Because like I'm seeing this guy from my perspective, and then Lyndon on the side, or like Gavin on the side, or Paul on the side, they're seeing like a completely different angle, and they're picking up on things that I can't pick up on. So all of a sudden it's like I'm like the amount of data we have is so much more, right? Like, oh shit, he's dropping his hand when he's throwing this shot, or you know, like his head's dipping this way when I throw this, and it's like I'm picking up on a lot of the stuff, but I feel like a lot of the stuff I pick up on is very like instinctual reflexes, like, you know, in the moment, like flow state stuff, and then they're seeing the more like analytical, like detailed stuff, right? Because
it's even like first person versus third person, right? Like,
it's like both. I won, man. Yeah,
because you're obviously seeing what's in front of you as the character, but they're seeing like the outside. Have you ever done meditations where you go outside of yourself and look at yourself? Apparently Lomachenko does a lot of that.
Yeah, Corey Sandhagen does stuff like that too. I do, man. Yeah. I'll get in those flow tanks. I literally did one last. Oh, sorry. I think it was this Friday. Yeah, this Friday I did a flow tank, and I'll just I visualize myself walking out in the arena and stuff, and I go through the fight. But like the way I like to do it is like, I'll go through the fight in a bunch of different scenarios, right? There's not one certain ending that I'm looking for, but like I'm like, okay, this fight can end like this fight can end like this, and then I'll watch, like literally, like you said, like I'm watching like a movie from outside of myself, like I'm watching it from the top down, and how I'm just like kind of moving and stuff, and just going through finish. Okay, I can finish this way, I can finish this way. If he throws this happens, right? If he hits me and I get knocked down, all of a sudden he gets in my guard, boom, I pop up something, right? Like, and I do a lot of those kind of visions. That's actually what happened with the Geo fight. When I fought that Geo guy and hit up that triangle, I literally visualized, like it happened differently where he like caught my kick and took me down, but I visualized I fell to the ground, And he got into my guard and I popped up the triangle. I visualized that the week before the fight happened, bro, which was wild that it happened, right? Because I'm like, okay, this dude's a power puncher. He puts people down. Okay, because you can't just visualize, like, it's good to visualize, obviously, succeeding and making fights easy, but you also want to visualize, okay,
it's not going good for me.
It's not going good, right? And, like, that's okay. It's like, you know, this is a fight, so things are going to happen, but if it's not going good, okay, what's the next step?
And also mentally, if you're not prepared for it not going good and then it goes bad, you're not in a space where you can bounce back from it, you know what I mean?
100%. You're like, oh shit, I didn't think about what would happen if this happens, right? Which is, like, super, super important, man. I think you got to visualize it all, man, and, like, you know, like, one bad thing's happened and now you're like, okay, what's the next positive thing that's going to happen from that bad mistake, right? Like, again, like, it just literally, like, okay, I got dropped with a punch, where am I going, how am I recovering, right? Because, like, dude, you're fighting in 4-ounce gloves against killers, right? Like, shit could happen. Yeah. But, man, the fight, that's why MMA is so cool. You can finish the fight in so many cool ways.
Yeah, MMA is dope. Yeah. So when did you have your first pro fight?
I think it was like 2018, 2017, man. Yeah, it was a crazy story. This is a crazy story about this fight, man. So, insane. First of all, it was in Burlington. So first fight, kind of cool. How it was like first UFC fight, hometown area, first, you know, professional fight, same. Burlington, right? Same kind of concept, massive arena. Like all my friends and family there, like all these kids from like my high school were there. All, like, so, you know, you walk out and like there's all these people that you know. But the craziest part about that story was I remember like maybe it must have been like a year before that. It was during this amateur MMA show at the time called Prospect. I was out in London, right? Prospect, right? And I fought that night, and then this guy named Avinash Chowdhury fought that night, right? Okay. And Avinash is the guy I made my pro debut on. But regardless, he fought this guy named Ryan Dunphy at the time, and Ryan was actually a pro who went back down to amateur. I'm not sure how that happened, but you know, he was kind of like well established, I guess. Yeah. And Avinash like knocked him out in 15 seconds, like like walked out, threw a hard right hand, boom, drops him. And I remember, like, funnily enough, bro, like there's this thought in my head at that moment being like, wouldn't want to fight that guy.
And then you fought him next.
And then I fought him next, man. And then they gave me the contract. They're like, yeah, you're fighting Avinash Chowdhury. And I actually remember laughing at that moment, being like, the universe works in fucking strange ways. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I'm like, there was like, and it's one of those thoughts where like, it's not like a conscious thought. It's like, oh, that guy hits hard. Wouldn't want to fight that guy. And then it's like, okay, now I'm fighting this knockout artist guy. This like, he was super like, you know, aggressive and violent and just like, goes forward, and I'm like, okay, now I'm fighting him in front of my hometown.
It's embarrassing if you get fucking knocked out in front of all your friends and family.
Exactly, right?
So how did you fight him? Like, what style did you come out with?
I wrestled him a lot, man. I wrestled him, but bro, honestly, just like I've always had this. I always have this like, and maybe this is why I fight guys better the second time around. But maybe it's because I watched these guys fight. Tape. Yeah, and I watch them fight guys who are not me, right? Yeah. And I see them like smash these dudes, and then like in my head I built them up so high. I'm like, oh my god, this dude's a world beater. And then as soon as I start moving in the cage with them, I'm like, not that bad. You know what I mean? And then like it always happens that way, man.
You forget how good you are.
You forget how good you are, right? And you see what other guys like are doing, and then you realize, I don't do that. You know, I'm way higher level than those guys.
Your body type's different.
Exactly.
The way you move is different.
Exactly, man. And then like you just like you react like all that stuff, man. But I remember I wrestled him, and bro, like just I fought him twice actually. I finished him the second time we fought. I finished him pretty brutally.
So and the first time was a decision?
First time was a decision. Okay. Pretty much just ground and pounded him, man. Like just like put him in all those like Khabib arm traps, took him down, just beat on him for 3 rounds. I won like a very like I think it was like 30-27, something like that. Like really good decision. And then I fought him again, and then the second time it's funny, I finish him the second, like I drop him with a crazy liver shot in the second round, but the bell rings as he gets dropped. I thought the fight was over, and I kind of go to celebrate, but he like recovers in the minute. I didn't realize that, you know, I thought the fight, like the ref pulled me off, but really the bell rang, which was kind of an emotional roller coaster.
Yes, I was right? Just gonna say that,
yeah. I was like, and I was like, but then like it was cool because I locked back in, and then I went out the next round, and I just clinched up with him and just like kneed and elbowed him till the ref pulled me off. I just got him.
I think I've seen that highlight.
Yeah. And yeah, that was just like one of those things. But I was just like, man, like, yeah, that was an emotional roller coaster, bro. Because it's like, I won. Oh wait, I remember Rory looked at me. He's like, no, fight's not over. Fight's not over. I was like, okay, calm down your emotions. Like, fight's not over. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was a cool story because yeah, man, I just remember actually laughing, like being like, no way am I fighting the guy that I didn't want to fight in front of my hometown, and if I get knocked out, this is gonna look real bad, right?
Hard hitters make you sharp sometimes, though, right?
They do,
because you know this guy could touch me at any time.
They do,
and so you don't want to be touched like at all.
100%. You're so defensively aware, man, and like I think that's another amazing thing with like Lyndon and his system, man. Like he has such a emphasis on defense, man.
That's
like,
good, yeah.
Such an emphasis on defense, man. Like I see how these other dudes slug, and of course they're great fighters and stuff, but man, like their offense might be great, but man, they just walk into shots so many times without any awareness. And I'm the complete opposite of that, man. Like I do not want to get hit, right? So, and I just Lyndon like drilled that into our heads from such a young age. I remember like doing practices where I'm like, this is boring, man. Like we've done this a million times, but thank God we did it, bro, because it's like a habit now, right? It's in me, man. And it's like, even when I get hurt in fights, like I can just get in a nice tight guard and I'm good, man.
And that's what those habits are for, right? I think, like for me, obviously, I didn't do any other things than striking arts. And then you watch MMA sometimes, and it's certain guys where you're like, this guy's missing the foundation of striking, and you see it a lot in MMA, I find. But then you see guys that have it, and that's why they're like levels above striking wise in MMA, right? It's also a completely different sport, but yeah, it's super interesting. But the next, I think, big moment in your career was probably like losing to Mateo, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. That was a great learning experience, man. Because like, you know, he was like really up on the come up. I was up on like we were the top 2 prospects in Canada at the time. I think I was 4-0. He was like 4-1 or 3-1 or something like that. But again, he was like on a crazy finishing streak. I had a good amount of finishes at the time too, and yeah, man, it was just like, it was one of those things where like, you know, I thought I had all my boxes checked, and then I realized, oh shit, there's a couple holes here, right? Like,
but that is good, right? Because then you work on that, and then you filled that hole, right?
100%, man. And that's like, man, like I remember after that fight, I drove home, dude. I just like everyone's like, go out, and I was like, nah, man. Like, and I wasn't like, I was obviously super upset, bro, but like, I remember like kind of just chilling. I went to A&W, got myself a burger, bro. I was just sitting in the car listening to some music, man, and I was like, this is good, man. This is good for me, man. Like I didn't take any damage, you know, like I'm healthy, I'm good, and I just like I found out what I have to work on. And then like literally like 2 weeks after COVID happened, right? And like I just focused on that grappling for so long, man. And now I'm so confident, man. Like standing in front of somebody, bro, and just sprawling, front headlock, choking people, and like it was all because of that fight, man, you know. And like rewatching that fight, I was just like, I rewatched it with all my coaches, and we're like, damn, bro, like basic errors, you know, basic errors that you just couldn't do in the moment. Of course not, right? We didn't practice it, we didn't drill them, but like this fight was winnable, right? And it was just
you also like the moments you had, you like really hurt him, right?
Yeah.
But then the other ones you were kind of controlled, right?
100%.
And those, like you're kind of saying, like if it's basic errors that are putting you in those moments where you're getting controlled for minutes at a time, right? If you can just not make those same errors, then you're rocking him more often, obviously.
For sure, dude. And that was, honestly, man, that was one. Even though I lost, it was one of my favorite fights, bro. Because like, it really showed me, bro, that I'm like, dude, I am tough, man. Like he had me in 2 full-on arm triangles, squeezing, you know, like he's submitted guys with this before, and I was just like, nah, dude, like I am not tapping, man. I fought, you know, I tried to fight through it to the final bell, man, and like I realized, damn, dude, like I definitely belong in this, man. Like I you know, like fix these adjustments, man, but like toughness wise and just like heart wise, bro, like obviously this Mateo was known for his heart and his toughness, man, and I was able to stand like toe to toe with him with that. And yeah, it was
every single fight he's in is
just a war, bro. It's just an absolute war, bro. And yeah, it was again one of those great learning experiences, man. And then, you know, I go out and I fight, like then the next time I fight a grappler in alley, bro, right? It's just like I use his own game against him, man. Like I did the wall wrestling, I did that stuff, and then the second time we fought, even easier, bro. It's funny how he took me down that first minute of the first fight, caught my kick, and I was so calm, dude. I was like, I'm gonna get up in a second, and like this, like once I get up, it's gonna mess him up mentally, because he's gonna put me in that position where he needs me, and I'm gonna get up, and I'm gonna get up easily, and it's gonna be like, oh shit, like, you know, you put me in the one position that you wanted me in. I got up and I'm chilling, and now like, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, he wasn't too confident on. That you deflated him a little bit. Is what it looked like. But that was so. What after Mateo? Did you go straight to BFL after?
I went, because it was.
And you fought for the title.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It was COVID, right? COVID happened, and crazy how the title fight actually ended up happening, man. It was really like, I think it was Kyron or Bobby that got a fight at BFL before. Like they already signed a fight, right? And they were just like, tag somebody you want to see fight at BFL or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And I posted that on my story. I'm like, guys, tag me, and like 150 people tagged me on the post.
Yeah, unreal.
And then literally Jay from BFL was like, all right, we'll get this guy on, which was crazy, right? I'm like, guys, tag me. I didn't even think I was.
You always see that. You don't know if it's gonna work, right?
Yeah, 100%. And it was I didn't even know for the title or anything. I was just like, hey, tag me in because I just want to fight with the boys in BFL. Like I'm like, UFC Fight Pass, sick. This would be a perfect fight. And yeah, I fought. I ended up fighting Gio next, man, and like another crazy power puncher, bro. That dude, like built like literally like a brick shit house.
He's a big boy, yeah.
God,
for that weight class, especially, right? Like,
yeah, man.
I don't know how tall he is. Maybe he's a little bit shorter, but he's super thick.
He's short, bro, but he was thick, man. And he seemed like, when I like looked at some old photos of him, he seemed like he was one of those guys who like walked around like 180, 190, Jesus you know, Christ. And then lost the weight but kept the density. And like, bro, like absolute unit of a guy, bro. And that was my title fight, bro. And I was like, same thing, man. I'm like, oh goddamn. Like I think he was only 2-0 as a pro, but he had a bunch of finishes in his amateur career as well. And like, his highlight, I guess Sarah told me this after they played the highlight reels of us before we walked out, and she like watched his highlight reel, and it was all just like brutal KOs. And she's like, oh shit, yeah, like brutal. And then I rewatched the highlight reel because like I went back that night and like I watched my fight, and I'm like, oh my god, thank god I didn't watch this before I fought, because it was like slap this guy, right? Because I watched him actually when my fight against Ali. I was supposed to fight Ali for the first time, and he ended up not making weight and like passing out, right? But I ended up going to the show that night,
right? And
I saw Gio fight. I saw him fight, and he, bro, he looked. And again, this is perception so crazy because he looked so fast on the outside. I remember sitting like front row, and this dude is like knocked the dude out in like 20, 30 seconds, but he was so fast. I was like, and he hit so hard, you can just. There was only like it was during COVID, so there was only like 20 people in the arena, and you just heard his knuckles like landing and his kicks landing, and I was like, "Damn, this dude hits hard." Yeah, wow. And then they offered me Gio, and I was like, "Okay."
Now I have a question for you. Did he seem fast when you were in there?
Not as still fast, but again, man, when like with my eyes like being adjusted, it was like I was good. You know what I mean? It's like it always seems way faster when you're looking at it from the outside. Third, like you said.
You know what else? It's like that looks like it hurts.
Yes, man.
I don't want to do that. And then you're like, oh, I do that.
Yeah, 100%. The hurt thing is so true too, man. You're just like, I'm just chilling there, like all comfortable, and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to eat those shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or like even kicking someone. I think that's what people who don't fight don't realize, or haven't fought don't realize. Kicking someone hurts. Even if it's like the right precise spot, that shit hurts.
100%.
You'll see someone like John Jones like fuck someone up for like 5 rounds, and they walk out limping. It's like they didn't get touched, but their feet are just like mangled. For
sure, man. You kick an elbow, kick a knee, and you might not even feel it at the time, but as soon as it's over.
Yeah.
You know when you feel it, then it's like real bad. Like if you feel in the fight, you're like, oh no. Because if you're feeling it in the fight, you're like, dude, like all this adrenaline is pumping through my veins. Yeah. And I'm still feeling it, right? Like, yeah. And
so was Ollie right after Gio?
Yeah, it was Gio, and then like literally, bro, like 8 weeks after. 8 weeks after is Ali. So it was quick, bro. Like,
what did they really want? They were hyping up Ali.
100%. Because the next day after the Gio fight, they did a 2-day BFL event. So they did my event, and then they did one the next day. Oh, wow. So the next day I showed up, and we did a face off, right? We did a face off right away, and like obviously like the goal was to get Ali, I guess, get Ali into the UFC. That's what they're,
He's a hometown guy.
He's a hometown guy, man. Yeah, promotion. And and I mean, I saw the stat. Like he's, other than losing to me, he's 7-0 in his last whatever fights, right? So other than the 2 losses against me, like he's winning fights, bro. You know, and he's not fighting, like he's fighting decent guys too. So it's like he's doing well, man. But yeah, they wanted him to win, and the problem was, dude, I was pretty mangled from that Gio fight, dude. So that camp was a tough camp, man. My shin was messed up, my hands were messed up, and the problem, you know, like you fight, right, and then you take 2 weeks off to like chill and relax. So then I come back into camp, I'm like 163 because I'm like, okay, I have 2 weeks to like get it out of my system. I'm inflamed. I'm 163, bro, which is the heaviest I've ever been. I will never get that high up again, and I'm hurt, bro. And I remember walking into that fight, dude, like in the backstage of the alley fight, man, and like we're working some get-ups from the ground, and I have a shin pad on my shin because I'm trying to like do my knee shield and just push off with my knee, and I have to put a shin pad on my shin because my shin hurts so much that like if I just pressed Paul's body with my shin, it would hurt. And both my hands were messed up still. So my thumb hurt, my hand hurt on the other. Like we're using the paddles. I'm punching paddles. I'm not even punching pads. Because like my hands are hurt so bad.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh my god, I'm walking in this fight pretty. Like that was the most mangled I've ever been. No, that was the second most mangled I've ever been in a fight, other than the Walal Watson fight. That one was the most. That was the most.
Well, that was like the knee and shit. Right?
Yeah, and the ribs. Yeah, the ribs was the worst part about that. But that was the most mangled, and that's why I fought half that fight, 3/4 of that fight in southpaw, right? Because Ali kicked me in the shin once, and it didn't recover in the time. That, like I was still messed up, and I fought southpaw, man. I fought southpaw that whole fight. Like I was just like, all right, I guess I'm a southpaw now, and like just won the fight in southpaw, right? Which was cool.
That's probably screwed him up. He's like, why is this guy in southpaw? And then the second fight, then you just back to orthodox.
Yeah, so the whole game plan was probably super different, bro.
Yeah.
That second fight against him, I felt really good, man. Like a little bit of adversity in the first minute, and then after that, man, I just felt like I was on cruise control, man.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was your fight, to be honest. And he like, he's a good fighter, but he looked like he broke a bit.
100%.
After he got up.
100%.
Yeah, on the feet he looked a little bit like you were getting after him at least. But so the second fight was the last one before the Contender Series, I guess. But even the one before that, we thought you'd probably get the call before.
When I fought Walal Watson.
Yeah, was that like weird mentally? Like where you're like, fuck, I gotta have another one before I get in? Or I get the shot?
Kind of yes and... That one just turned on.
You can keep going.
Yeah, kind of yes and no, man. Because, I mean, that was my first one after surgery. So I'm like, I honestly didn't mind getting more experience, you know, and fighting again. But that fight, bro, like that Walal Watson fight, man, like really built a lot of confidence in me, man. Because like, bro, like I walked into that fight with the torn ripped cartilage in my ribs, and it was so bad that for like 3 weeks before the fight, I couldn't wrestle, I couldn't kick, I couldn't grapple at all. I could just box. In the back room of the fight, I could just box. Wow. I remember driving up to Kingston. I drove up by myself, man, and I would stop on every single en route, you know, those little stops, because like my ribs hurt so bad that I'd have to get out of my car. Wow. Yeah, from sitting, dude, and I have to get up, stretch. Like, you know, like, especially, like, you're cutting weight, too, so everything hurts even more. You know, you're skinny, you're, like... And I'm like, oh, my God, my ribs hurt so fucking bad. And I remember Lyndon multiple times asking me, like, yo, do you want to pull out of this fight? But I was like, no, man, this opportunity is, like, too good. Yeah. Like, I know I'm just gonna... I know I can do this, right? And, like, he had, like, well, like, almost, like, 30 professional fights, too. So he's a veteran, bro, fought on the show. You know, and I was like... Just don't get taken down, you know. Just do not get taken down, right?
He wasn't a wrestler though.
He wasn't a wrestler, but he was a grappler. He had some nice submissions. His last fight, he caught the dude with a guillotine in like 25 seconds or something like that, and put him to sleep. So yeah, but I was just like, man, like, I want to take this fight, but bro, there was like, it was again just trusting myself and trusting like that I was gonna like be able to figure out in the moment, and like that was one of the best. Mentally, that's one of the best like performances I had. Like when I got in that cage, bro, like I rocked him from the first jab I threw, and I just felt like, I don't know what it was. I felt like I had dynamite in my hands that night, bro. I don't know if I was maybe just like, maybe my nervous system was very well rested too, because I wasn't training as much before the fight and stuff. But like when I was in the back and I was smashing pads, I felt so sharp and I was hitting so hard.
And your knee wasn't even like fully recovered.
No, not at all.
It was meniscus tear.
Meniscus tear, bro. Yeah.
But bro, to go through that type of adversity in your like pro career before you get to the big show, I think is very valuable, right?
100%, man. But it was so funny, dude. The doctor, like after my surgery, was like, all right, you can start doing your rehab work. Like, your knee's okay. You can start doing. And I was like, all right. And I jumped into camp. Dude. And I didn't realize, like, cause like, I wasn't doing much. So I'm like, oh, my knee feels pretty good. Like, I'm not doing much. And then I guess I started getting kicked there, and I started wrestling hard. And then my knee started smashing into the mat. And then this thing would like balloon up, and I remember like midway through camp, I don't even remember. I think I just shot a double leg, and my knee smashed into the mat. And the next day, I lost about like 70% of my range of motion.
Oh shit!
Like right away, and I was like, oh my god, this thing is swollen. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't kick with it. Like, it couldn't get my knee up, shin out, like at all. It felt like super awkward. And then the ribs happened. I was like, oh my god. But funny enough, when the ribs happened, it helped my knee heal. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't
going so hard.
Well, I stopped going so hard. I could only box, right? So I couldn't wrestle. I couldn't kick. I didn't get kicked in the knee. So I was like, all of a sudden, my knee started feeling a little bit better, And I was like, wow, this is so weird. But like, yeah, dude, that was the most like beat up I was ever in a fight camp, man. Yeah. And again, after the whole experience, it built a different level of confidence. Yeah.
So I remember before that fight, I called you and I was like, how you feeling? Like, how's your body, whatever? And you were like, everything's fine. And then after I talked to you, and you were telling me like all this stuff. And I'm like, I talked to you before. Why did you tell me that? And you're like, I think I was just convincing myself mentally that I was fine.
100%.
So like, how much of that goes into, like, how important was that in like almost like convincing your mind that you were actually healthy?
That's 100% it, man. Yeah. Like, my family every single day asked me, how's your ribs? How's your knee? How's your ribs? And I was like, I'm good. And like I wasn't good. But like, first of all, honestly, man, it's a twofold. Number one, convince myself. Number two, like, I don't want people to stress about me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, man, like I'm like, I can see how stressed my mom is and stuff when I'm like talking to her, and if I'm like, yeah, I feel like shit, my ribs kill, like, it's not gonna help.
I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not gonna help anyone, right? Yeah. So I was just kind of like it's almost like stoic about it, bro. And I was like, I'm just gonna figure this out, man.
But that's like internal strength, right? Like, because sometimes I find, like, what I've done in life sometimes is like, you have all these doubts you portray to someone else, and you want them to give you strength. But it's never going to come from someone else, right? It's only going to come from you internally. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, that was the last, that and then the alley fight, and then boom, Contender Series next, man.
Yeah.
Which was crazy, bro. Got the call like a week after the BFL fight.
Right.
Met Sean Shelby at the hotel room, right? The next day. Oh man, that was such an awkward interaction.
Tanner just being like, I gotta, yeah. What did he say? I want to introduce you to someone.
Yeah, well, I was pretty faded, bro. From like, we're celebrating, we're having fun, man. And I remember Tanner just like taps him on the shoulder, and he turns around with the most confused look on his face, dude. And Tanner just like, hey, I just want to introduce you to my friend Serhiy. He just fought yesterday. And then like I introduced myself, and then like it was cool because Sean was like, I know who you are. Yeah, watch your fight yesterday. And literally, bro, like he was like with Paul Felder, and they were all having fun. And I was like, I'm not gonna take up this guy's time. I'm like, well, I hope I can fight for you one day, right? I hope I can fight for you one day. And he's like, yeah, I hope so too. And the coolest part about that was at the Contender Series at the weigh-ins, he like sees me and he's like, see, I got you in. He literally said that. So he remembered me at the weigh-in, bro. He's like, see, told you I'll get you in. And I was like, yeah, man. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you actually remember that interaction, and you like brought it up at the Contender Series, which was awesome, man. I remember.
I don't know how many like fighters come up to those guys randomly, and they're probably like
I'm sure a ton.
Yeah.
And I hate being that guy.
Yeah.
I hate being that guy, dude. Like. Yeah.
But it's a cool story.
It's a cool story, bro. And I'm glad it was it wasn't like it was a short interaction, but I always hate being that guy for anything, man. Like sponsors, right? For like trying to get all that stuff, man. Meetings, like all these famous people. Like I like it when it's just comes natural, bro. Right?
But I think that like, so I had a question in my mind earlier, but I didn't ask it. Where I was like, I mean, I work with guys who are like in the UFC and stuff, and like obviously do their merch. And when you weren't in the UFC, we did like triple the amount of t-shirts than guys that are in the UFC. So like, I think you have a support system around you, and like, where do you think that comes from, I guess, is the question.
The support system?
Yeah, or like, why do people like want to support you? Why do people get like galvanized by your story a little bit? Because it does feel like that is happening, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I think maybe number one, because like, again, like, I think I've built a great community with like my teacher, you know, my students and my teaching, bro, and try to put out like a really good positive message, bro. And like, I think I just try to be a good person all the time, bro. And I think maybe people like can see that. Like, I'm not sure, but like, maybe it has to be some kind of energy or vibe to it, man. But
for sure,
like, I'm just like, bro, like, I just like want to be a good person. I want to be like a helpful person, and like, I don't know, man. I just want to set a positive example, I guess. And it's cool, bro. Like, I'm super grateful for everybody that supports me, man. That's like another thing I'm really big into, man. Like, every morning, every night, and then every time I do my plunges, I do like a gratitude practice. So sometimes like 4 times a day, I'm like listing off like just gratitude, and I'm really feeling it, man. And like, it's always on those small things, man. I'm always including like my community, my support system, all these people that want to work with me, you know, sponsors that reach out, like you, Bobby, all my friends, my coaches. And it's just like, every time I realize, I'm like, wow, I have such an abundance of like support and love, and it's awesome, man. And like, I just feel like the more I appreciate it, the more comes my way. Right. But yeah, sure. That's for sure, man. I feel like I have an amazing support system. I have so many people like reaching out to me every single day on Instagram, man, and like social media and in person. And like, I love it, bro, because, and like, it's cool when you see yourself inspire other kids and stuff. That's one of my favorite things too, because I just remember being the kid who try to find that inspiration from like the guys, you know, like leading the way and stuff. But
there's some like killers coming up, like that are like in high school at BTC, that it'll be interesting to see what they can do. 100%. The area is just like, it's buzzing with talent. It just like, it's got to break through a little bit, right?
Well, I think doing things like this, bro, like getting these fights in Toronto, getting local guys into the UFC, that's like, oh shit, like this is happening. Yeah, it's doable. It's in our area, right? It's one thing when you're like watching Sean O'Malley and like, you know, like all those guys, like, and they're like, oh man, this guy's in Arizona and this guy has this opportunity, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, in my own city at my own gym is a guy who's going to fight in the UFC.
I know him personally.
Yeah. And you get to see his habits, his routines, the way he talks, and you realize, oh, like this guy's just like a human being, right? He's not like a crazy like at a, I don't know, like almost like an impossible feat to reach, right? Like, I remember even reading like you know, biographies of like Uriah Faber and Cody Garbrandt and stuff like that, and then even in those you realize, oh man, these guys are just human. Like, they went through the same struggles and the same like problems that I go through as well, and then it puts them down into like a level where you're like, oh man, like this is very, very doable. But like when it comes from your own area, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I feel this, and obviously it's like I'm doing a different thing, but and what you're saying with like the gratitude thing, that I'm like, I remember a couple months ago feeling like super inspired, because it's like we've now built a community of like, it's all based around the same thing and everybody wants to succeed, but it's like Goisman's doing the stuff with sponsors for you guys, like I have the brand, you guys are fighting, like it's just like, it feels like everyone's moving in the same direction, and there's a lot of like inspiration from it, and it feels super cool. Like I like it a lot.
When you start Techniques, was there like a brand or like maybe an individual that like inspired you to start? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, cause like for me, like it's obviously like I look at like different fighters and like their stories and stuff, and like that inspired me. Like, was there like is that how it kind of happened for you? Like brand wise, maybe person wise, like how did you like realize you wanted to start like an MMA brand?
I knew that like we have a local brand here in Canada that does it, and I mean, I didn't love their like, I just felt like there was more that could be done, like design wise, and in what we were wearing, like a lot of things, like it didn't speak to like the expression that I felt like martial arts is, you know what I mean? Like to me, martial arts was always about self-expression for me, and I wanted gear that would kind of like portray that, you know what I mean? and then obviously like Engage was doing like crazy things, and their owner Ash, I don't know how much I would say I was like inspired by him, but I like watched what he did, and it's kind of like the blueprint, I would say, right?
Right.
Like, especially nowadays where like fight merch and that type of stuff is becoming very big, and even like I forget the company that did Sean Strickland's stuff, but
Full Violence.
They're doing like an unbelievable job, and I just think there's a hole that can be filled, and it's cool because it's a niche sport, and it's not like it's going to be like Nike or Adidas or some of these like massive sports brand, because they almost don't want to enter this market because it's like it's not PC, man. Like this is a different world, you know what I mean? So it's always going to be these like niche brands, and it's the fastest growing sport in the world. I just think there's a lot of growth, and there's a lot of things that can be done, and I fucking love the fight game. Like I'm obsessed with it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah,
it's crazy to like look at just even like how the branding used to be like 10 years ago, bro. It's like Tap Out, right? And like all these other companies, man, Bad Boy, right? Like, and then like now it's like like even like just like the gear you make, bro. First of all, like I always believed in like look good, feel good, perform good mentality, bro.
For sure.
You know, like when you got a new fit on, bro, and you got some like sick gear on, dude, you feel better, you perform better. It's all mental, right? But and now, man, like it's almost like coming to that point where it's like, you know, that like you got like MMA like gear, and then like there's also lifestyle clothing, which is sick too, bro. And like,
and I want to get more into that. It's tough, man, especially with the I've told you like the money situation, because it's like I have the inventory I have now, and then that money almost like recycles itself because I have to re-up. So then it's tough to have money to bring more SKU lines in, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like slowly doing it, but I'm starting to think about like maybe I need an outside investor or whatever, but also I'm getting close to getting online with Canadian Tire and Sport Check now, actually. I don't know if I told you. Yeah. But it's taking forever, man. Like just their internal machine, I guess, in these massive companies. Like every time I talk to them, it's a positive interaction. It's just like the time in between us talking is so long. Like Canadian Tire said they would take us on in June. It's been 6 months.
Right.
But those opportunities can help the brand grow, and then with that growth, bro, I haven't taken a dime out of Techniques. Like every single money I've ever made, I put right back into it, right? And it'll hopefully get to a point where like it just scales bigger and bigger. But I've taken like massive risk, and it's been calculated. But like I don't want it to be like this like local thing, right? I want it to be like worldwide, and I'm like, why push for this like small thing? Especially, bro, like I believe in you, I believe in Malot, I believe in like what people have here, and like if I believe you guys can get to like champ status in the UFC, that's number one in the world. Like why can't the brand then do the same thing?
Right, 100%, man. It's yeah, it's even like cool like looking at like O'Malley's story with like Sanibel and stuff, right? And like seeing how like like that guy supported him as on the come up, and like the brand's got massive now, right? They're like on Amazon and stuff too, right? Like it's super cool, man. And then just like again, like just like me being delusional, saying I'm gonna be in the fucking UFC. It's like you got to be a little delusional too to get this. But like it's almost like just, dude, that's what separates the fucking average person to the people that like really are successful, right? You have to take risks. Yeah, again, calculated risks, like smart risks, but like there has to be a game of risk involved, right?
Dude, I have a picture of it's like a doodle. I remember the Techniques logo that's a handwritten, the first one.
I know exactly.
I doodled that logo, and I remember like I just have a picture of it, and it's like super cool to look at, because even then I was like, I'm gonna make the biggest brand on
nice,
the world.
bro. And imagine seeing that in like fucking 10 years. Like, oh,
yeah,
crazy.
Well, there's a bunch of pictures I have saved that are like super funny. I mean, like I still have inventory in my basement, but I have videos of like the inventory in my mom's house. You know what I mean? Like super funny stuff where like one day that could be like really funny content. You know what I mean?
So like what was the process of like starting Techniques, man? Like what was what is like the first step? Like did you just buy a small amount of inventory and like just start like that? Like what was the first thing you even sold?
It's a lot before that. Like man, in my life, I've never had like something I felt like I like, even when I was doing Muay Thai, like I loved it and I like the self-expression was amazing, but I didn't feel like I was like fully that person, if that makes sense. And I was like personal training this lady, and then I like told her the idea, and she's like, oh, you know, I'm like a small business advisor, right? Like I've had so many moments where it's just like I happen to be in the same room as someone and it just, and the right thing happens, right? So she got me to do what I think a lot of people don't do, which is like financial projections, business plan. Like I used to work a construction job, and all I would have to do is sit at the job site in my car. And dude, it was so boring, but I would bring my laptop and I would work on my business plan.
No way. Yeah, that's awesome.
All I would do. Yeah. Or like my business projections, all this stuff. And then like I did a shit ton before I even started looking at gear. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, like you did all like the kind of like
I did like SWOT analysis on multiple different brands.
Like how hard was that, bro? Was that like, did you find that, did that come naturally to you?
Super natural.
Really?
Yeah, like
crazy.
Because you know the whole, like if I said to you right now, like, okay, there's a brand like Booster. What do they do well? What do they do not do well? Okay, maybe their quality's high, but their designs are bad. They don't, you know what I mean? Like you can find something on every single brand, and then you go, how do I fit into the mix, right? And some of that is like where you want to fit in quality wise, because like I don't want to be winning sells gloves for like $300 a pop, right? Then I don't want to be like, I don't want to throw a brand under the bus, but like a low brand that's only like an intro brand. I want to be somewhere in the middle. So how do I find products that are at the quality that I want them to be at for the price point for me to buy, you know what I mean? So I can mark it up properly.
So you studied a bunch of brands to do that, right?
Oh yeah. And then I like was seeing some girl at the time, and she was into like branding and merchandising company, and then I got her to give me an in for this company in Pakistan. Okay, cool. Yeah. And so then, but then
use girls too. Yeah.
What up, Sidey Boys?
That's where the name comes
from. But I ended up, another funny story. I didn't like that like Pakistan supplier, and I was just walking down like the water down here with my buddy, telling him like I need a new supplier, and then I just happened to run into like this girl I went to grade school with, some dad, and he's like, oh, my daughter told me like the business that you're doing, like you should come over for a coffee and we'll talk about it, because he's an entrepreneur, right? So I take his number, we like had set something up, it didn't end up working out. And then I'm just happened to be walking down the street, and I happened to walk by his house, and he's outside. He's like, you want to chat right now? I come in, he's like, what's like the number one thing you need? I'm like, I need a new supplier. Like I'm thinking about China. He's like, I think I have someone for you. No joke, bro. He got me my current supplier.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. Like I have stories like that where it's just like, and that's why I felt like I'm moving in the direction I should be in. You know what I mean?
Bro, 100%. That's exactly how I feel in my career too, but that kind of makes you feel like you're on the right path, right?
It's like, those, I read a book where it was like, I don't know the exact, but like life will give you like hints where it's like you're moving in the right direction.
Right, 100%, man. Yeah. So like last question kind of had, bro, is like, what's like your vision in the next 5 years? Like, do you have like a game plan for the next 5 years? Like these like long-term goals?
Yeah, I have like vague ones. I find, I don't know if you do, but I always find when I do like goal setting that's like super clear, it never happens. And also like you almost feel discouraged by it. You know what I mean? So like I obviously have like grandiose ideas of like where I want it to get to, but I'm almost like loose in like how I get there or like what happens, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Would you ever like start like a technique store? Like
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like an actual like physical store.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing I think would be if it's like the front of a shop of a gym.
Yes.
It would be super cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That would be sick, man.
Yeah, I'd love that. I mean, I want to get in with like big retailers. I think that's where the real money's at. Like, for a long time, man, I was chasing down gyms to try to get gyms to buy, and it's just like so much effort for little return, and then they like beat you down on price like crazy, right? I think a lot of these, it's like getting into Canadian Tire, getting into Sport Check, then like there's like Dick's Sporting Goods in the States. Yeah. There's like, and then dude, expansion into like Europe, Asia potentially, right? Like, I think the opportunity is there. It's just like these slow wins to get there, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Not losing, like, sometimes I feel like I have to like float the business until like that big thing kind of happens, but who knows, maybe it never will. Maybe it'll just be a slow build. But like I told you last time, like last year we did 44,000 in sales. This year I just checked it was 91, right? Like that's I've doubled it, bro. Yeah. And it's been like that every year, which is wild. And I think I can double it again next year. So part of me is like, okay, if I continue to double it year after year and I get to like, let's say 800,000 in sales a year, then I can really start to like crunch down on numbers and really look at profitability. Whereas right now, the only thing I care about is scaling the business like bigger and bigger and bigger with the money that I have, obviously. But it's tough, man. Like I've also never done this before. Yeah, for sure. My dad was an entrepreneur, right? Like came to the country. We have a similar, like both our parents were immigrants, right? And we've talked about this, the different name where it's they're like calling your name for attendance. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, bro. Oh, God, the anxiety, man. Anytime there's like a pretty girl in class, I'm like, oh, dude, they're gonna wreck my name. This girl's gonna think I'm weird. I have a weird lunch, like.
Yeah, but yeah, my dad was an entrepreneur. I've watched him do it, but like he died, and so like now who do you ask for advice, right? Like, yeah. Right. But I think that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, the beauty of fighting, man. Like, you do it the way you want to do it. It's not like, and you figure it out on the go, right? It's not like it's like the blueprint's like fully there for you.
Bro, there's like so many different ways to build a brand. There's so many different ways to become a UFC champion, right? Yeah. Like mixing in your own creativity is so important. Obviously having like fundamentals, but then like mixing in your own personality, your own creativity. And then like you said, man, like the universe will bring opportunities and just realizing where the opportunity is coming from and then taking advantage of it, right? Yeah. Finding these big opportunities.
Being open to the opportunity as well is big, right? Like sometimes mentally you're like closed off, right?
Sorry.
No, you could have the same opportunity, but you're just kind of like scared of it, or like you're not willing to like take it on. You know what I mean?
I think that's where the gratitude comes in, though, man. Right? Like, dude, like I used to, like it, dude. When I was a kid, I was such an ungrateful little bitch, bro. It's actually like I can look back and just be like things were going like I had everything I wanted, but I'd always be like, what else? Like, always looking for the things I didn't have, man, and never appreciating the things I had. And now I'm like the complete opposite of that, bro. Where like I'm sipping on like a coffee and reading a book in the morning, and I'm like, damn, dude, life is fucking good, bro. I do my little morning routine, my little nighttime routine, and it's funny because the closer you get to the fight, the more I enjoy like the simple things, bro. Like just have like a couple fruit, like I have a couple raspberries and like a couple eggs and some bone broth, and I do my cold plunge and I do my meditation and I read my book, and I'm like, damn, life is so good. It's crazy, like just the little things, man. Like, but like,
how did you switch it?
Just honestly, bro, two ways. Just like listening to podcasts and like people talking about gratitude and just trying to implement it, and almost feel forced at first. Like I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, but not actually feeling the gratitude, and then over time, man, like anytime like I think it was just like a habit. It's just a habit. It's just like, okay, what am I like even if I had I remember like last time I had a bad sparring session. Literally got in my car and I'm driving and I'm kind of like in a bad mood, and then I'm like, what am I grateful for? I'm healthy. I didn't get hurt. Like I'm coming home with a beautiful roof over my head. Like I have great coaches. Like I had tough rounds today, but I have good training partners that push me to my limits. Like imagine I just showed up to every sparring session smashing everyone. Like what kind of growth is that, right? And like I remember switching, like being able to switch that on the car ride home, and automatically I'm like, wow, I feel fucking better, bro. And I just like. Yeah, man. And the more I do it, the more I just appreciate things. And anytime I get nervous for like an opportunity, like this massive opportunity that I might have, I'm like, dude, how grateful am I that this is what I've been thinking about and I actually get to do this, right? Instead of like that's fearful scarcity, like mindset. It's like, dude, this is the opportunity. And then I always bring it back to, bro, when I'm 80 years old, when I'm 90 years old, and I'm fucking an old guy, dude, and I'm just chilling and I'm talking to my grandkids and like, like I've lived my life. Like I want to make sure I look back and I'm just like, dude, I did it. I did what I wanted to do, and I took the risks I wanted to take. Because I think the scariest thing, bro, was looking back and being like, dude, I had this opportunity to take this risk and I didn't take it, and I just decided to live my life like, you know, like still like could still have a great life, but that part of my soul that like knew there could be more meaning and I can push it harder. I didn't like go to that point. That shit scares me, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You could have the most comfortable life ever and have kids and do this and travel and like, oh, awesome. But you didn't like feed your soul the way you thought you think you could feed your soul, bro. Like, oh, that freaks me out, man.
I think we're all like, I remember having this feeling where I'm like, I was frustrated as a kid. I feel like where I'm like, I am capable of greatness. I have something in me where like I'm capable of big things. But like almost not knowing where to put it was super like frustrating and like give me anger inside. But like, I think we're all capable of greatness in our own way. You know what I mean? But it's just like finding the place of where you want to put it.
That is so hard, man. Yeah. Like, how lucky are we that we found passions and like things we love and like are able to put our energy into, bro. Like, so many people don't have that, man. They just never find it, man. They just never find it, right? Like, they just don't know what it is, bro. And the next thing you know, they're in the 9 to 5. Like, again, man, it's still a great life, bro. But it just doesn't feel right for me, and probably doesn't feel right for you, bro.
Well, I'm still in. I do a crazy amount. Like, I have the 9 to 5. I have the business, and then we're doing that. Like, I'm constantly adding stuff. One day I'm gonna get rid of the 9 to 5.
100%, man.
I need it right now. It's like a means to an end. You know what I mean?
100%.
I can't every day, bro. I'm just thinking I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like I think we're meant to be more free than we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's the thing. You have the other outlet of creativity of like because imagine like doing the 9 to 5 and then being like, oh fuck, I have no way out of this. Bro. That's what it could be, right, man? I know. Which is crazy that could actually be it, man. Like,
well, that's a depressing feeling. Like, I've talked to other people about this. Some people don't feel this way though. Like, I look every minute of me being at work, I feel like I'm in jail.
Yeah.
Like, but some people don't have that, right?
Yeah. But again, I think you're right. Like, everybody is different, and some people just are just comfortable. Like,
but maybe we're saying like they're capable of great. That thing could be the thing you're doing, right?
Exactly,
the job.
Exactly.
But I think for me, and most likely for you, it's just not. It's not that thing, right? Like,
yeah. Well, we're a little fucked up, so like.
Been hitting that a couple too many times.
Yeah, 100%, bro. We are a little fucked up for sure, bro. Everyone's like listening to this, like, yo, these guys are dumb. It's like, shit, man. We might be, but.
They got to go back to the IQ test pod then.
Yeah, 100%.
Bobby's a genius.
Yeah, Bobby's the genius. Yeah. But
I think that was good, no?
Sick, yeah. Episode 5, baby. Let's go.
Peace.
That was fucking dope, I think.
Dude, that was a sick one.
Yeah.
Like, that was a sick. Dude, that changed from like me talking about our things to you. Flowed so well, bro. That was sick. That was a good one.
Are we going with Sidey Boys Up?
We have the name now.
Okay, all right.
The name is Sidey Boys Up.
Sidey Boys Up.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You know what a Sidey Boy is?
No.
Actually,
explain to me the name. Can you explain to me the name of our podcast? None of us know what it means.
I actually just I didn't know you were Sidey Boy.
You know what a Sidey Boy is?
No, like a boy who lives in the city.
It's a Oh, you guys don't get the term?
I thought you meant named it after him.
Well, it is like Sidey. Like, it's a play on City Boy.
City Boy is actually the term.
Like a City Boy is like